Welcome to my anniversary party. Thank you for coming and thank you for watching this in the future. So, from the future, hello from the past. If you came to hear about tips and tricks and a couple stories and a few surprises, you're in the right place. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Um, there's been so many people that have helped me over the years get this started. So just if you're on here and you got the email or you saw it on LinkedIn, thank you so much because it really just means a lot to me um, have have this opportunity to be able to work for myself and to be have the opportunity to meet so many amazing people like I have. So what I thought I would start with is if you haven't met me before, I thought when I was prepping for this yesterday, well, I'll tell you how I did the prep because that's part of the presentation. I've been prepping for this for 10 years. So a lot of this was pulling some of my favorite tips and tricks from some of my favorite sessions I've done at different events. And I started to think about, there's just been so much that I've been able to do in the last 10 years. I was at one point a member of the Dynamics Credentialing Committee, a GPUG All-Star, which is part of Dynamics Communities. I've won a bunch of awards from them, including Communities Legend. I've been on advisory boards. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I've been able to do a lot of really cool things, including writing two workbooks for Dynamics GP. On my website, I have on-demand training, I have blogs and YouTube videos and tips and tricks and all of these things. And it's because when I started my business, I wanted to focus on training and getting training out to people because I love learning and I love to share with people. I think if you have the opportunity to, the people I've met have had the have all been really amazing people that are all trying their best, and we've all gone through difficult times. I remember presenting right like it was during the pandemic. I did a remote session, and then right after I did a session in person, and just thinking about all the people that had to work through that were because if they didn't work, people didn't get paid because they were the accounting department. So being able to talk to people like that and to help people like that means a lot to me. So these are a bunch of accomplishments I've had. And the other thing I figured out was that I've worked, whether it's conferences or clients, in 26 states, which is pretty crazy, over half the country that I've been able to work at. So if your state isn't on there, it's a goal. So I'd love to come visit you at in your state. Let me know. Or if you have a conference or something you want to send me out to or have me come speak at, I would love to do that as well. So there's me when I started with Dynamics GP. I always joke around. I've been working with the program now. I started in about 1999 at a partner out in California. And so I joke around that this is me right when I started. So I've learned a lot of lessons. So one of them is I've had to learn how to deal with criticism. I've had a lot of really positive feedback at different events and with clients and all of that. But you've also, no matter what you do, you'll end up sometimes having criticism. So the criticism that I have this picture. This is me when I was in fourth grade with a terrible, terrible haircut. I always joke that it looks like I have a little cat on my shoulder. Um, I I wasn't I'm not so old that every picture is black and white, but it's our old yearbook and that was my picture. And when we got it, it literally looks like I have a cat on my shoulder. So the reason I put that up, and I've used it as even my picture on my bio slide when I've been at different events, is because I had a bunch of really good feedback from this session. This was right when I started working for myself. I had this really good session, and then people were, oh, it was great. And like, there's a lot more wonderful feedback from this specific session. But one person wrote down that they could have saved time and looked at the PowerPoint. Speaker was more worried about her hair for pictures than what she was training. And so, first of all, they had a typo, but on top of that, they were just like irritated that I had made some joke when the person that was running the event came in to take a picture, and they said that I was more caring about my hair. So what I tell people is I said, well, when I don't care about my hair, it comes out really crazy. So I turned something that was really a negative into something that has helped me when I started events or met people, just kind of sharing that we're all doing the best we can. So help me overcome some of my imposter syndrome, my fear, getting started at these events and doing these kind of recordings and all of that. And no matter what, no matter how much I enjoy it, there's that minute of just like pit of your stomach, kind of kick in the stomach, and just starting with something funny. We are talking a lot about accounting software. So how funny can it be? But I've had the opportunity to be there with a bubble machine and be there, doing all of these things. And it's because to me, it's more than just the software, it's people. And I've met, I mean, I can barely think of anybody. There's one client I had that was a crazy person was there, but out of like I've been doing this job for since I was a child, as you could see. Everyone else is really doing the best they can in very difficult situations a lot of times. So it's sharing that opportunity, sharing what I love is why I built this company. I've also had the opportunity to meet amazing friends by volunteering with different user groups and being a presenter. And even if you don't have that, desire to present, there are different ways to be involved, whether it's answering questions on forums or different ways you can be involved. And nowadays with social media and what we can do on LinkedIn and what you can post, if you have something you've gone through that you figured out, post it somewhere. Or if you reach out to me, we can co-present it together, talk about it together. That's always an option as well. So this is a thank you I just added. I actually added it after we were going to start the session. And I just wanted to say thank you because behind the scenes, my friend April and her husband Joe have been doing a million things for me since literally day one. They were there when I came up with the name for my company. They were there when I got somebody to try to make my logo that was doing a crazy job, and I sent it to Joe. And literally minutes later, felt like he sent back my logo and sent back all the files and did all of this work to really help me build my brand. They've now started their own company. So if you ever need any help with graphics or branding or whatever, they are amazing. Can't recommend them enough. You can always reach out. They are just literally best people out there. So I added this in. April, you're watching. You guys just have done so much for me. So thank you so much. It literally reads my books, does everything for me. So April's amazing, and anything I can do to help them, I want to do. Okay, so let's go. Oops, next. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is I wanted to also talk about what's next for me because it involves clients and also what I'm trying to build and this next chapter of my business. It's always about helping clients, and I am not a partner. I just want to make sure in the recording 100% that everyone understands I'm not a partner, meaning that I don't do licensing as of today. You never know. Never make a promise, but honestly, it's not a goal of mine at this point. My goal is to focus on training, process improvement, data cleanup, all of that documentation. And what's next for me is I feel like, especially with so many people, moving to other ERPs or trying to get as much as they can out of GP, clean data is going to be big savings, especially if you are thinking of moving to another ERP. If it's cloud-based ERP, every bit of data you're paying for storage. So why bring over customers you've literally never worked with? I had a client I'm working with right now that have clients that they brought in from their old accounting system back in 2008. They've not worked with them for almost 20 years. They're about to do an update. So I gave them a list. These are your clients that have never had an invoice, never had a payment. Do you want to bring them over? And we're going to go through that. So I'm actually doing a whole session on data cleanup coming up. I'll have a slide about that. You want to figure out your problems and fix them before you move to another ERP. If you're trying to get more out of a GP for now, clean data is going to always be a benefit. Improved processes are always going to be a benefit. So I'm going to continue to do that. I've already done blog posts on things about data cleanup. I've already done some SQL views that I've put out there for free, but I'm going to be doing a lot of that in some upcoming classes. My plan for my classes are going to be that, like today, they're recorded, and then people will have the option to attend live. And if you're live, you get a discount to watching them like online for, you'll get like a discount for the first 3 months of watching it online. It's going to be subscription based just because that's a way for me to give you the content. But also, if you just need it for 3 months, you have it for 3 months. If you want to keep having it, you can just renew the subscription. So that's how it's set up on my website right now. And that's how it'll continue to be. This specific session, the plan is for it to be free on my website for, I'm not sure how long, but for as long as possible, have it free on my website. I'll make sure you guys can get to that. Try to send that out to you as well after this session. Okay. So these are the upcoming training classes that I have coming up. I have a SmartList Builder training. If you haven't looked or used Builder, I also have on that sign up sheet or sign up page how to check if you have Builder. I'll do a little bit of that today in the tips and tricks section of today, but Builder is an add-on tool from a company called E1 Solutions. I love using it. It's been amazing. I could do I basically use it every day for some projects I've been on the last couple years. Like I have a couple clients that I've been doing work with them for over a year. So every time we connect, we do something in Builder. Also, like I mentioned, GP data cleanup and system review, and a month-end, year-end close webinar. The month-end, year-end close webinar is going to not just focus on year-end close. It's going to be how to make sure you're in balance, how to make sure you're checking reports, how to set up all those kinds of things. So if you use Happy Anniversary, you'll get a discount on those webinars. Again, these will be recorded, so if those dates do not work for you, you can always reach out, and then they will be recorded, reviewed a little bit, maybe a little teeny bit of editing, and then we're going to move them into our subscription area on our webpage. So other thing I'm also really excited about is I am using Copilot quite a lot. I want to do some Microsoft Office and Copilot type training. If anyone's interested in that, let me know. And so just to get a little behind the scenes, when I was getting ready to prepare this a few days ago, I said to Copilot, I have a lot of tips and trick sessions. Then I said a lot of them are GP user to superhero. I'm going to do about 45 minutes plus or minus of tips. Can you help me to do this? Literally, it went through and I'll show you what it looks like because I have it up here. It literally went through and it gave me links to my specific sessions so that I could go in, review, and grab those slides, edit them a little bit, or just copy information over. And it went through, gave me an outline. Some of it I followed. Some of them I thought I wanted to take a little more time on the tips. But this is all part of using Microsoft Copilot if you do it as an add-on to Office where it can access your data. Really amazing things you can do with it, and I'm just excited about it. And so if you are excited or curious about it, let me know. Oh, this is April and her husband's website. I wanted to put that up, so let me close that. Next is we're going to start doing some tips and tricks. So now you heard all the behind the scenes and sponsored by myself information. We're going to do some tips and tricks. And this is how it was written on Copilot. It kept saying like, why does having these tips make the cut? And it said, this appears in nearly every era instead of your content and delivers instant ROI. So the reason I focus a lot on navigation is there's just a lot about decision fatigue, a lot about a feeling overwhelmed when you get into software. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch GP because I closed it before we started. So we'll go ahead and get it launched. And don't mind me about any of the version. I think I'm like one behind on here. I'm up to date on my laptop, but whatever. It's good enough for the demo. So we're going to go ahead and get connected. And I want to just show you what I mean about how you can feel overwhelmed. So if I come into GP, there can just be so many options as I click on all of these that you just don't know where to go. So a lot of times I spend time talking about how to do shortcuts. So that's why I'm starting with shortcuts and why it's important to me. So the first thing we're going to look at is the toolbars. So in GP, the toolbars are anything up in this top section. So you can add a bunch of toolbars. I remember when they added this feature, and at first I really didn't like this feature. I'll show you what it looks like. So we're going to come into here, And I'm just going to add a different shortcut, and I'm going to add inventory. I might have customized mine. We'll see. Nope. So when I first started, it would look like this. And a lot of people already just had financial. I've customized the financial. And I just thought when it's just little icons, let me turn off financial for a second. It's like that doesn't mean anything to me. You have to mouse over and I have to figure out what it is. And it was confusing. So what I've done is I've shown people that they can customize the toolbar. So what we're going to do is I have the standard toolbar on. We're going to use inventory as an example, but let's go down to customize. The standard toolbar, we can get to in the drop down. In my GP user workbook, I have basically all these navigation tips and more in the workbook. And we can give you a discount for that as well. If it's not up, we can get it to you. Same discount, happy anniversary. We can put that out there for 10% off because it's my 10th anniversary. But anyway, so the toolbar, this is the standard toolbar. And we're going to go to the inventory toolbar first. If you click on this, right now it's just showing a little icon. I can hit modify selection, image and text. I'm going to just click OK and show you. So you can see that it changed that to have the icon and then the words. We're going to go back into customize by right clicking up here, go down to customize, and we're going to do a drop down and we're going to go to inventory. Now right now that says transaction entry. I'm going to say modify image and text, but that name transaction entry could be confusing because what if I also did payables transaction entry? That's confusing if I just had it say that. So we can also modify the name. So I'm going to say happy anniversary. And I'll say, let's move some inventory. Now that's just a crazy name. And I'll show you why I did that in just a second. The next one, we're going to say modify selection, image and text. And then this one I could delete, but we're going to add another one. We're going to add in inquiry, inventory, item transaction, move this down and modify selection, image and text. I'm going to change the button, make it into this. And then I can also change the name to say item PRX inquiry. Okay. Now the reason I'm changing the name here is there's a unique option when you change names for windows in toolbar customization. You don't even need to see the toolbar for this to kick in, but we're going to do it first with inventory. If I click OK, and now if I go to inventory and I look in my transactions, it now says happy anniversary. Let's move some inventory as the name of the window. So when you're naming this, you're actually naming the control is what they're calling it, or what they call it. And when you do that, it names and renames the window everywhere. And it doesn't just do it when you go to this. It also does it if you come up to here. It adds it here. If you go into that window, though, it doesn't change the window functionality. It doesn't change the window name at the top. If I click F1 to get help, it gives me the standard normal navigation in the help menu, which is very handy. But it does change it in the name. And if I go, oh, you know what, that was just something funny I did in training. Let me go back to customize. And I can go back into inventory, click on it, and I'll say modify, and I'll say reset. If I do that and go back, now you're going to see it goes back, and it even lost the image and text, so I could go back and customize and do this. This is done per user. We'll just go image and text. And you can also do things like add a divider line if you wanted. So there's a lot you can do up here. And if I click OK, now you're going to see, oh, you know what? I think I customize. I probably didn't even hit the right button. Inventory, insert. It was probably because it was still resetting that and I just didn't click OK yet. So let's do image and text and do OK. There we go. So it puts little divider lines between it. The items that I added here, SmartList, My Reports, Process Monitor, Close All Windows, and Exit. I have this in my workbook as what I think is the best standard toolbar. SmartList is automatically standard. Take away Windows. It does also have shortcuts and reminders, but I have those on my homepage. It also has my reports automatically, so I leave that. But I turn on or add process monitor, which is under that's going to show you if you're running a report. So let me just hit that button and hit process monitor. It's going to show you what's running. So now I've got that report up. We're going to minimize this down, and then let's go with another report, and we're going to look at process monitor. Okay, so it's trying to run that report, but because I have the other report saved to my screen, I didn't close it yet. Watch what happens if I open up, and let's go to a SmartList for unposted AP. Okay, and let's look at our process monitor now. No records are showing. Let me look at that process monitor. So now my process monitor is getting backed up. So if I came in and ran and did, if I ran in and did oh, hold on. Here we go. If I went in and added another report in, what you're going to see is that if I do this report, again, my process monitor is even more backed up. So process monitor is going to show you, and this is what will happen is people will do this and they'll have something printed to screen, and then they'll say GP is locked up, it's not running reports, and SmartList isn't returning anything, and they'll do Control-Alt-Delete and close it instead of coming in, seeing stuff is stuck, and actually looking and going, oh, I've got a print to screen. So what I'm going to do is close that, and then you'll see now it's going to do the next report, and then it went through and it's doing my next report, and it did all of that. And so by having that process monitor, I saw that things were stuck. Now, if I look in my SmartList, you would see that there's some unposted AP transactions. So it even lets that run. Worst case scenario, I like having close all windows. So if you just, I'm going to show that again, just I saw a couple of people just were able to join. We're going to right click, go down into customize. And in my toolbar, again, I went to standard, and I can add windows. So I added process monitor. You can add other things in here as well. So let's say you always have to change your print setup. We're going to add that in. I'm going to put in a divider and move that divider down. And then print setup, we're going to do image and text, and I can even change the button image. And this, let's say this makes me think it's a printer. So let me do that and click OK. So now I've got my print set up. So if I wanted to change my printer, I can come up and change my printer. So again, using that top toolbar, I can add different windows. If I change the name on the window, like I changed item TRX inquiry, it changes it everywhere for my user ID. It does not change it for anyone else. It just changes it for the user that I'm logged in. So there it says that new name. Okay, next. The shortcuts or the controls is user specific, but it is powerful. I always like to do modify selection, image, and text. And these are the standard toolbar must-haves. Since I am recording, you'll be able to watch this again. I always tease people during events or tell people in events, I know I talk fast, so I tell people that I'm cheaper per word than other people. And when I'm doing more like the training webinars and things that are coming up, I'll definitely slow down and make sure you have questions and answers. We'll get to those as well in those sessions. Okay. This is how we did that customize. We can right click and add and remove toolbars up in that top bar. And then again, we can rename them. In this sample, I even put like numbers. So for maybe a workflow, I wanted to put them into my toolbar with those numbers. I don't even need to see the toolbar for those name changes to stick. So we can turn off the toolbar and it'll still have those name changes. To come back and get the names back to normal, you would come in and find it and hit reset on the individual control. Okay, that's what it looks like. Updates the current user, and that's what it looks like, what I did in that sample. This is my favorite standard toolbar. Okay. The next shortcut for navigation is our home page. So what is our home page? So we're going to talk about quick links and we're going to look at the home page. So I'm going to go back to home. I've already customized my home page quite a bit, but we're going to go into customize this page. You can turn off and on sections of your homepage. I like to have on the ones that I have turned on, at least have those ones turned on. So sometimes I'll turn off the connect if I don't need the news and information coming from Microsoft. I can turn that one off if I want. If I want to save some space or make one of these bigger, maybe I don't need that one. I can turn it off. That's a user preference. This is per user. We can change the role down here. And that will reset my quick links and it would reset business analyzer reports that I'm showing. I'm not going to reset mine right now because I want to show you some of the things that I've done. And also we're going to change some of my quick links over here. So let's go to customize and we're going to go into here and click on quick links. Okay. Right now I'm set up as, actually, you know what? It's going to just change these two. We're going to change role. We'll do that. So we're going to change and make me into collections. We'll do that. Okay. Now, it did not delete any reminders, but it did add some additional reminders for me. It changed my quick links. I'm going to come over here. If I don't need some of these, I can either click this little pencil or click customize this page. And if I don't need these, I can delete. And I can add windows in that I need. So let's say I'm going to come in and say add GP window. And I want to come in and say inquiry. And I'm going to say sales. And maybe I'll say national accounts. I'm just going to put that one in there. So now I've got my national accounts. I can modify it. If I change the name here, it does not change it everywhere. It just changes it for this specific window. Just for the shortcut, it doesn't change it like it does in the toolbar. In the toolbar is where it would change it. Would change it for everywhere. I can also, this is a tip I learned years ago and I love it, is I can also do web pages, which is nice. So I can come in and, put in my website if I want, which is kind of nice. So let's just go here, trainingdynamo.com. We'll add that and we'll move that one up. And then I'm also going to do add web page, but I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do some symbols and I can do whatever symbol I want. I'm just doing dashes. And then I just do HTTP and I'm just going to put a dash in there or a symbol, whatever. All I'm doing is basically using this shortcut to give myself a little order, little separator. So like, let's say I wanted to separate my shortcuts like this. I could do that and click OK. And I'll hit refresh and then you'll see my quick links updated once it refreshes. If you use that little pencil to refresh, it doesn't auto refresh. So you would just hit refresh up here. And now I can click my little quick links and I can go to my website. You can see all my fun stuff on the website. If you come over here and we'll do that. You can click on here and see all my website stuff. So you can use that as a way to also open up, let's say you have a spreadsheet or something you really want to be able to get to, we can add in a web page or external programmer file. I'm going to browse real quick and I'll show you. So let's just go here and I'll say, let's see, desktop, and this is all fake stuff. So we'll just do this. Open. Okay. And I'm going to call this an important Excel sheet. And I'll click OK. And I'll click OK again. And again, I have to hit refresh if I've used the little pencil. If I went through customize this page and made the modification, when I click OK here, it auto refreshes. But here's my important Excel sheet, and it will open that file. It doesn't open, it's not saving it into GP, it's just saving a shortcut to the file where the file is saved. So it's opening the actual file. So that's on my home page. Let's go back over here. So there's one extra in here that I skip, which is navigation list. What I have found is that when I try to add it to the quick links from this window, it just slows GP down so much. I've never even had the patience to wait for it to try to show me the full list of navigation lists. So what I do if I want to add a navigation list is I would go to the actual navigation list. And we'll get into navigation lists in a second, but I would go here and say add to homepage. And now if you come back over here, you'll see now I've got my navigation list, and that took 1 second. If I tried it from the quick links page, literally I've never had patience to wait for it to add. So I do that from the navigation list. And so that's why I have that little skip adding it from here. Okay. Reminders. So reminders are a feature that I love. I use them a lot for checking. I'll show you what I'll use them for. We'll create a quick reminder. So reminders are done. There's 2 types of reminders. There are built-in reminders here, and you can do things like remind me when they are 45 days after the due date. And I can display it as a queue or not, and I'll show you what happens if I do. We're going to go refresh. If I say display as a queue, it's going to make it like a little stack of paper. We're going to go into the new reminder again. The bottom half are reminders that are based on SmartList. If I don't need one, like if I say I don't really need this one, I can hit remove. If I've got a bunch of mixes, I switch my role. So we're going to just dump this. We don't need this. So you can adjust it that way. If you hit new, it's going to give you existing SmartList favorites. So like I might sort this and say, I want to look at all my builder ones are available. I underscore for my builder ones. And let's just go under customers. And let's say customers on hold. Select. When the number of records is not equal to or greater than 0, we'll click OK. So now I've got a new reminder. It'll get rid of all those other ones, and you'll see customers on hold. And if I click that, it's going to open up and change that SmartList. If I wanted to come in and do something like, let's do purchasing. And all these underscore ones are ones, again, I did in Builder or Designer, but we're going to look at a standard, and we're going to look at vendors, and we're going to look at, we'll just do vendor balance. What we're going to do is in here, we're going to add a column. And what we're going to do is add in the column, and we're going to add the check name. Vendor check name. Sorry about the balance, but I've got these 2 columns, and I'm going to do is name this. And I'll say check name, and I'll do these 2 symbols for not equals vendor name. And I want this to be a reminder. And what we're going to do is say number of records is not equal to or greater than 0, either one. So we're going to click OK. Now I'm going to go into my search. And this is a little bonus tip I don't have on the slides, but I can do a field comparison. Is not equal to vendor name. And I'm going to click OK. Now I've used this one, and I always leave this one wacky vendor there wrong on purpose. I'm going to hit favorites and modify if I've made that change, because I added that filter. And what I've noticed, these are 2 that Microsoft set up in their test company. Let's look at this one because it's funny. I mean, like a weird name. So in this one that they created, when they imported or created this vendor, they populated the short name and the check name with the class ID. So that can happen with integrations. That can happen with imports. So that's why you want to double check that. Use SmartList as a way to double check information. This isn't a common issue. It's not like anything built into GP. It's just at one point somebody in Fargo created this vendor with the wrong information, and I like to show that you can find it. Also, if like there's typos and you fixed it in one and didn't fix it in the other, that's where that would come up. Go ahead and go back into here. Okay. Custom reminders are built on SmartList favorites. They can also they get based on favorites. They can be based on the ones that come with GP or ones from Builder or Designer. Okay. navigation lists equals a hidden superpower. And why it made the cut is because a lot of people will go, oh, I don't use smart lists, or I don't use navigation lists, but we're going to go through why I like to use them. So let's go into, we'll use financial first as an example. I'm going to click on my accounts. Now you'll see back here, I've got a couple different saved views, SmartList, or not SmartList, navigation list options. Until I save it, I don't get one of the options, which we'll show now. So we're going to say save as, and we're going to go navigation list, and we'll say, I think we have some for this one. So we're going to do that. Once I save, and I didn't save the and sign, so that's fine. I could just go and rename it. Didn't like the symbol, so we'll just go and we'll click OK. So I renamed it. Now I'm going to go into here, and now I've got customize. I can turn off and on parts of the window, and I can also update the navigation pane across the top. I mean, the action pane. So if I wanted, I can come in and add an action. So if I wanted to, I can come in and add an action. And we're going to I'll show you what it looks like in payables because I've got a cool one there. But let me show you what this looks like. We can also change some of the other things in the action pane. We can also adjust where it's visible, what company. We can also adjust if other users can make changes. Otherwise, other people can see it, but they'll have read only automatically for this navigation list. But here's where I like it. So we're going to come in here and hit save. I'm going to add a filter where the description contains, and we're just going to say meal and hit the little arrow to run. Now I've got my list. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to save this. So now I've got my list. I can mark one or more. I'll just unmark one of them just to show you. And I can click reports, print trial balance, and we'll hit print, and we'll see if I've got any activity in those accounts. Let's see. So now I've got those just for those ones that I selected. Now, if we go into something like purchasing, a lot of times what I'll do is come in and I will create a navigation list. Here's one I have, vendors with balance. And we're going to adjust the action pane actually. Oh, I need to refresh. We're going to go into customize. So we're going to go into the action pane, and I'm going to go into the modify. I don't want to have delete in there. We're going to remove that. We're going to remove this. We're going to remove this. We're going to remove that. We're going to make this primary and large. This is primary and large. Actually, we'll say primary and small. Primary and small. And we'll move this one up. And then we'll go here and click OK and click Save. So now you can see if I click on this, if I wanted to pick a few vendors, I can come in here and set which message ID we're using for emailing. I don't have any set up on this. The format, I can do all of that. I can also, again, come in here and run my aging. So if I just want an age trial balance, I can have that here. I won't run it. You get the idea. I can also apply hold for one or more at a time. We'll hit refresh. And then I've got those on hold, and I can apply and remove hold. Customize again. Let's say that I want to come in and change the documents. Oops, wrong one. We're going to go into action pane, and we're going to go into new. Let's say that I don't do anything. My user, whatever one I'm saving it for, they're not going to do anything with POs. We're going to take these out. And we're going to change this to say manual payment because that's what that opens. And then I'm going to also add in credit memo. And I'm going to leave it in overflow because I want to show you what, actually we'll move this into primary for you to see. This one is already in overflow, so we'll move that down and click OK. Save. So if you see, this is going to be something that I can adjust until I have it the way I like it. I have different preferences on how I like it set up, but you can see now I can get into here. If I want to just do a manual payment, check this box and I hit manual payment, it auto fills in that vendor for me. I can also go from here and go to view transactions. Now, why is this different than SmartList? It's because of the actions. The query, you can honestly get more information from SmartList than you can from navigation lists. But from here, I can do things like, I want to put this invoice on hold. And then, oh, here we go. I just didn't do it right. Come on, little computer. I don't know why it's, there we go, apply. And then now we hit refresh. There we go. Okay, so now you can see I can even put documents on hold. I can recreate check stubs. I can email from here. There's a lot of actions. So if you haven't used navigation lists before, they are pretty amazing. And that's why I said if you haven't used them, definitely worth taking a look at. This is how we customize. We want to save to enable customization. Edit the action pane to make navigation a million times easier. If you see my sample here, I just put vendor, enter bills, credit memo, manual payment. I tried to mirror how QuickBooks had, like the names QuickBooks used in a scenario for a demo of you're getting someone off of QuickBooks to have them be more comfortable. We have them in GP with similar words. Okay. Next thing, navigation lists. Sometimes people will go, well, I can't use navigation lists. When I do, I get 15 errors in a row. That is because if you have smart SQL reports enabled, there's a part of SQL reports called Business Analyzer. Business Analyzer tries to automatically put charts and graphs and things into the navigation lists. Makes it much slower and can give errors if security isn't set up correctly. GP added this a few versions ago where under administration, system preferences, turn these off. It'll just make it run faster. I always turn them off for clients, just a million times better. Smart list tips that'll make you look like a superhero. Okay, why it makes the cut. I love Smart List. I already accidentally gave you a few Smart List tips because I can't help it. I love it that much. Smart List has options. And like I said, I am doing a Smart List builder session training coming up really soon. I'll have the dates for that up and the discount up as well coming up. So it's actually maybe next week or the week after. So we're going to look at what we can do with standard Smart List for this now. So go back into GP. I'm going to use my close all windows just because I don't like having a million things open. And I'm going to open up Smart List. So let's go in and we're going to take a look at our vendors because we did it with customers on my other thing. And we're going to look at vendors, vendor balance. Now, right now I've got my vendors with a balance and I can see, okay, there's a negative and I can see these vendors. I want to only see my top 10 vendors when I open up a Smart List. So what we're going to do is go into search and we're going to change the records to 10 records. And then we're going to use order by, and I'm going to go to current balance, insert, and we'll say descending. And that quick, I've got my top 10 vendor balances. Save it as a favorite, and we'll just go top 10 vendor balances, and we'll hit add favorite. Okay. So there we go. I've got a brand new favorite. That's the max records option. When you're trying to add a field, SmartList can be a little bit crazy to find the fields. So for example, as I mentioned, I'm working with a client who has customers and vendors they've never worked with. So what I've done is created SmartList like this. We'll just take standard built-in SmartList and we're going to go to the columns and we're going to add in, and I'm going to sort it by type. And I'm looking for, see, it's currency, account index, currency. Now I'm in the dates. That's what I want to get to. I want my last transaction, my last payment date. Click OK. And now any that have never had transactions, you'll see it's 000 in here for never having a transaction. And then I can come in here and say favorites, and we'll go customer review, last TRX dates. And we'll add this as a favorite. And then we're going to come in and do a search. And I'm going to do a quick search. We're going to say customer balance is equal to 0. And we'll say last transaction date is, we'll say less than 10119. We'll say 101 2000, just to see what we get. Okay, so now we can see these are customers that actually have no activity. Now I could come in here and go search, and we'll say 0101 2026, because my test company's in 2027, so we'll just do 2026. So now I've got some customers that have had activity, but it hasn't been for a couple years in my test company. What we're going to do is go to favorites, and now I'm not going to mess with this existing SmartList, but we're just going to say and we'll say active. I'll add another thing into here. We're going to make this into a favorite and reminder when the number of records is greater than 0 or not equal to 0. And we're going to add one other column. And we're going to go, I think it's a yes, no. Let's look at the bottom. Inactive, there it is. And you can see I'm going to filter out anybody that's already inactive. So we're going to come in here and say inactive is equal to no. Favorites and modify. It's going to warn me that it's going to update that favorite or the reminder. That's fine. And now if I go back to my home page, you can see now we've got customers with no recent activity, vendor review check name does not equal vendor name. So we've got a couple reminders coming right from there. Okay. You can also change your column names by just clicking in there and typing it and then saving it with that favorite. I've done this whenever I do a demo. I'll do this and there'll be at least one person that goes, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So I like to show you that if you click in the display name, it is editable and it will save with that favorite. The original name will still show in that original name column, but the display name can be edited. Okay. Match one or more. So there is a built-in SmartList called past due customers that is built in with match one or more. 0 to 30 is greater than this, and it does the different aging buckets. And as long as they have a balance in one or more columns, it will come up. So that's the match one or more if you haven't used that. SmartList has system-wide SmartList settings, and they're in two places. One is under System Preferences, and one is under SmartList Options, but both are under Administration. For the System Preferences, I like to set this at clients now as user ID if I've discussed it with them, because what you're going to see a lot in SmartList is people will end up with everyone that creates a favorite. It's going to be in this list, and this list will get longer and longer and longer. So what I will do is if I go to my favorites, actually we'll do it from the standard one. We'll just click here. If we go into favorites, see how it says visible to? It's trying to add it to the system. If I go into that setting and we'll go to system preferences, and we'll make it user ID, that would automatically make it that when I make a new SmartList, it would save to being visible to my user ID. It can still be changed. It's not locked. It just can allow that to change. Okay, next. Security tips. This is some really cool stuff. I'm going to show you this, how it works. I'm not going to do as much step-by-step for this. I do think if I don't have it recorded as a tip, you can always email me. I'm going to try to put some more recorded tips online. But field level security, I will show you it. I will tell you this 100%. You need to test this and you need to tell your partner, because field level security, if you've locked out a field that is important for an integration, it can make things messy and break things. So you want to test it. So what this is field level security. I have one where I disable the EFT button. The reason being is that I don't want everybody to be able to go into purchasing and addresses and click on, a vendor and then look at their EFT information. So under administration, I'm going to go into field level security, which is under administration setup system. And I've got this one for EFT button. So in here, I did a lookup and found Microsoft Dynamics GP. And I'll just do this real quick. I'm not going to save the whole thing. It might not work, but we'll just say test because I want to show you real fast. So you can come over here, find the product. I'm going to say Microsoft Dynamics GP, purchasing. I'm going to say vendor addresses. Vendor addresses. So the username when you're in here is a lot easier than what it ends up looking like. That's why I wanted you to see. So on the main window, I'm going to take the, and it's a funky name. It's not called EFT. It's called checkbook or something like that. I'll show you on the other one. Find button. I'll show you on the other one because I always forget what it's called. So let me show you. So that's how you find the window. Let me show you what it looks like when I finish it. So it's called a bank button, which is kind of funky. It's under vendor address, but they don't call it checkbook. It's called bank button. So I have it disabled. I can then either assign it by user, or what's easier is have it go by class and put everybody in that class. And then I can apply it, and then everyone in that class won't be able to see that window. Since I'm logged in right now as SA, and you can see it automatically assigned it to anybody in that class, we're going to go to SA and we're going to apply it. And now if I go into, we'll go into that window and we'll go to purchasing, and we're going to go into addresses, cards addresses, sorry. And see how now it's grayed out? I can't click it. You could make it invisible. It would even be gone. So you can either hide it, password protect it, or like this, I disabled it. So they know it's there, but they know they can't get to it. That way, if somebody is like, I just did it as a sample. You can do it different ways. Okay. You can assign user classes on the user setup window. So this is the user setup window, and we can add and create user classes. It's an old feature that a lot of people skip because it used to be back in the day, back, that this was really the way to do security. Security is improved, it's role-based, it's better, but they didn't get rid of classes, and it actually can be used in assigning field level security. And it can also be, when we create a SmartList favorite, that it's visible to the class. So there's a lot of different ways that can be used. So it's a really cool way for an old feature to be used in a new way. Okay. So that was my last tip. I can keep going. This is how my brain works. I would keep going and going. But what I wanted to basically show you is there's just a lot in GP that if you're not using, we want to make sure you know how to do that. So making navigation easier. I'll do a real quick one for adding on my report. So if I go into purchasing and I say trial balance, and we'll do historical and modify, and we're going to actually do clear. So we're going to go AP aging work, and we're going to say as of the end of the previous month, and we're going to make the destination just go to the screen. When I'm in here, I can hit my reports, and we're going to go GP report. I like to put this at the beginning, and we'll say AP historical aging last month / detailed. I'm going to click OK and save. And then, because I have my reports enabled here, There it is here. It'll be one click to get that report. It would also be on my homepage under my reports on my homepage. So lots of stuff we can do to make navigation easier. I do a lot of tips and tricks on my website, on my LinkedIn, and I will be doing SmartList builder training. I want to show you just a real quick preview of what I mean by what is builder. So we're going to do my favorite, close all windows, and we're going to go into SmartList. If you're not sure if you have builder, there's a couple ways to check, but if you hit new and you have security to get to builder, it will launch a builder window that says SmartList builder up here. So we're just going to go TRX, and we're going to go AP transactions. This is the world's fastest SmartList builder report, but we're just going to come in here. I like to build them different ways. You can build them actually based on an existing SmartList. And the only change I'm going to make on this is I am going to go into this field, and I'm going to say negative values based on a field of document type and check a couple boxes. Same exact thing. And document type and check a few boxes. Save, save. And now my credits, all of that. And that's going to be honestly like if you did the SmartList Builder class, we're going to do that like first as one of our first like little tips is how to do them based on existing SmartList, how to use things like how to view things a little bit better. GP data cleanup, we did a little bit to show you what I have planned for that, which is showing you that you can see last dates. I've actually have some SQL views that I'll be sharing. I can provide to you and your IT department to install. If you're a partner, I can provide those so you can use them with clients to help you see the last dates for things like the GL accounts. That is not inclusive in the GL account list, but I've created a SQL view that shows the last date on a GL account, including last budget year that it's included. If it's a balance sheet account, what's the last year that it had a transaction versus the last year it brought a balance forward. Month end and year end close, that's going to go through things like balancing to the general ledger, things like that. So there's a lot of things coming up with that. If you're interested in getting in touch with me, you're on the phone with me, and so you got an email from me, so you probably already have my email. You can always text me or call my office number. Honestly, it's just going to come to me. So best way to reach me really is going to be by email. If you want to send me a present, there's where my packages go. But really just reach out and let me know any questions you have. If you are looking for GP one-on-one training for you or your client, your team, or if you are want me to work with your clients, also reach out as well. So I want to say thank you again for everybody that came. I'm going to check real quick because I have not looked a minute at anything in chat. Let me go ahead and say stop sharing for a second. And let's just take a look real quick. Okay, we don't have anything in chat, and we don't have, I don't think anything, let's just look. Okay, no, nothing in Q&A. This is recorded, so you guys will have access to that. We will get this out to you. If you don't hear back in a couple days, just drop an email. We'll make sure and get it out to you. I will post about this on my LinkedIn. I'm going to also blog about this on my website. So the best place for information is on my website and on my LinkedIn. Those are the two places I'm most active. I know I talked fast, but I had so many fun things I wanted to show you. And just again, I wanted to say thank you so much for everybody that joined. And just thank you to everybody that's been a client. And if anyone is looking for help in GP, I love doing this. I love helping people. And even if you're looking at moving at another ERP, I hope you can see how training now can make your current processes better and get your data cleaned up and ready for whenever you're ready to move to a new ERP or make it better while you stay on GP. So thank you guys. I will be trying to do a few more free tips and tricks sessions coming up, but to keep the doors open or, keep me in business, there's going to be some paid ones that actually will do a lot more deep dive and question and answer and all of that. So if you have a chance to register for those, it'll go a long way in keeping the free tips and tricks coming as well. But thank you guys again. And I appreciate literally everybody that's on the call and everybody that watches this video later. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead and hit end meeting and end recording, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great afternoon. Bye.